Wow, and they're still coming in. All right. Good morning. Welcome to Bellingham Unitarian Fellowship. I'm Reverend Paul Beckel. Good solstice to you all. As we prepare for Christmas on Wednesday, with a Christmas Eve service here at 7 o'clock, the night before Christmas, and then both Hanukkah and Kwanzaa begin on Thursday. Human beings my apologies. And we have a potluck on Christmas Day at 2 p.m. Humans tend to find deep meaning in holy days, with dates determined by fixed cycles of sun and moon, or less predictable, births and deaths. And where I come from, there are days of wonder determined by the vicissitudes of weather. The first snowfall, whether it's in October or January, marked by the emergence of snowblowers, sleds, and snowball fights. All wonderful traditions, rituals, what have you. Whatever the seasonal change, though, there was acknowledgement that happened. Sometimes with far too many words, sometimes with just a look in the eye. From your own icy driveway across to the neighbors, in their icy driveway, and you kind of get this wordless sense of, I feel your pain. Rosemary Watala-Traumer begins one of her poems this way: for when we greet one another. I want a new ritual for when we meet each other, strangers or beloveds, friends or rivals, elders, children. It begins by holding each other's eyes the way we behold sunrises or the first cherry blooms, which is to say, we assume we'll find beauty there. We hold each other's eyes as if we assume we will find beauty there. And perhaps some display of open hands, a gesture with palms up that suggests both I offer myself to you and I receive you. I'm going to stop with a poem now and invite you in a moment silently, and for the intentions of this ritual, it must be silent. Even though this time the music is going to be a little lively, and that's going to change the way we interact with one another. But I'm going to ask you to stand, move around, look one another in the eye without words, expressing mutual respect and appreciation.
about whether to light the chalice first or whether to talk to you first, so we're going to light the chalice.
As we light the chalice, we're lighting our main chalice, and we're also lighting the same chalice that we use at our wedding on Thanksgiving morning. And within that chalice, we have a special anniversary candle that will go home with us again.
So I'm Lee Seaman, and I'm up here a lot during the pledge drive in the spirit telling you all about how much fun it is to give money to Buff, but I'm not doing that today. This is personal, because I want to introduce you to my best friend, and just 3.5 weeks ago, my wife, Tricia Zaribida. So Tricia and I met in 2021, and we worked out a 5-year plan for our future together. And then a few things changed, and we moved. Last month, a couple of things changed. And out of a deep-rooted sense of hope and an abundance of caution, we moved up one part of our 5-year plan and decided to get married right away. And so on Thanksgiving Day in the morning, in a group of 8 sitting up here in a circle in the front of the sanctuary with that candle, we got married. Paul officiated. It was wonderful. It was just delightful. And Tricia's daughters were here to witness for us, and Jane Lowry witnessed for us, and it was just a wonderful little time. So that was very cool. I thought, you know, you get married, you're older, you don't really have to have a ceremony. It's just kind of this legal, convenient thing. And we'd go to the county courthouse, and a board clerk would stamp our paper and take our money, and we'd be married. But no. You have to have either a minister or a judge, it turns out. And we didn't know any judges, but we knew a minister. And Paul was available the morning of Thanksgiving, and so was Ben, and we just had delightful. We did vows, and that was, wow. That was more thought-provoking than I expected. And, you know, it turns out when you get married to the person you love, it's really an awesome thing to do. Who knew? I was just kind of blown away with it, to tell you the truth. And all our friends Oh. Thank you. Are we back on? We are. And now they're talking to each other in unpleasant manners. So all our friends are above, are excited, and it warms our hearts, you know. We don't feel alone, and that's so cool. It's so amazing to be part of such a supportive community. So I just want you to know how cool you all are. So I'm going to turn it over to Tricia, and then I'll come back and invite you downstairs for our reception.
So today, as we explore the power of ritual in our lives, Lee and I knew we were in love. We knew we were lifelong partners, but we also knew we had a 5-year plan, and we felt that a formal legal commitment of marriage could wait. And then it occurred to us that none of us are promised the future we had planned, and that some taken for granted rights may not be. Although we knew these things, and in our love and partnership, we've also discovered that rituals create and formalize meaning in a special way. For us, it encouraged intense personal reflection and deep conversation. Yeah. It strengthened our social bonds with family, with friends, with our community. And perhaps most surprising, it connected us in a timeless way to all those who have made this significant marriage commitment. Because of the ritual of getting married, we have been nothing short of astounded what a difference it's made in how we feel. Emotionally and psychologically, it is different that we did not expect, and we are the better for it.
So I had a family of about 5, and now I have a family of really large. And some of my new family is here today. Would you folks stand up just so everybody knows who's, okay? Yeah. Thank you so much. So this allows you, when you come downstairs for cake, and we have lots of cake and cookies. And oh, it's all gluten-free and dairy-free, so yeah, eat your hearts out. And you'll know who to say congratulations to and who to say, oh, you're new to Buff, will you be joining soon? And please come back. And I mean, I'm sure they'd love to, but they're not from around here. So, we hope to see you downstairs, and we're really grateful to Buff, and thanks for having our backs.
Lee and Trish were especially explicit about how much they felt they wanted to do this within the Buff setting, even though they, on Thanksgiving morning, couldn't invite you all there. And that's why they wanted to do this here, because they understand their union as being supported deeply by your support, and how much it means to you to them today that they can, with you, share a covenant. So let's say that together. Love is the spirit of this fellowship, and service gives it life. Celebrating our diversity and joined by a quest for truth, we work for peace and honor all creation. This is our covenant.
A song called Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and the words should be up on the screen there. In going through the hymnal, I noticed that there are some songs that are meant to be sung near the beginning of the service and some near the end. So in planning this service about rituals, I just see ritual everywhere I look. I guess that happens. Anyway, this is a great song to sing at the beginning to welcome everybody. So let's sing, Come, Come, Whoever You Are. We'll just sing it through 2 times.
And I have a story that's somewhat oriented to smaller people, but I think will very much be grasped by the not so small. It's called The Fall of Freddie the Leaf, and it was written by Leo Buscaglia. One spring, Freddie the Leaf was born on a branch of a tall tree, along with hundreds and thousands of other leaves. All the leaves danced together in the breeze, and they played in the sun. Daniel was the largest leaf and Freddie's best friend. He explained to Freddie that they were part of a tree in a park. He explained, too, about birds and the sun and the moon. Freddie loved being a leaf. In summer, lots of people came to the park. "Let's all give them some shade," said Daniel. Making people happy is part of our purpose in life. Old people sat under the tree and talked. Children ran around and laughed. It was fun to watch them. And summer passed, and fall came. The leaves turned red and yellow. They were all very beautiful. One day, some of the leaves were blown off the tree by a strong, cold wind. The other leaves were scared. "What's happening?" they asked. "It's time for leaves to change their home," said Daniel. That phrase really struck me when I read this book again. Time to change their home. Some people call it dying, he told Freddie. "Will we all die?" asked Freddie. "Yes," said Daniel. "Everything dies." "I won't die," said Freddie. But other friends started to fall, one after another. Soon the tree was almost bare. "I'm afraid of dying," Freddie told Daniel. "We're all afraid of things we don't know about," said Daniel. "But we're not afraid when spring becomes summer, or when summer becomes fall. Changes are natural." "Will we come back again? What about next spring?" Freddie asked. "I don't know," said Daniel, "but life will come back. Life lasts forever, and we're part of it." "If we just fall and die, why are we here?" asked Freddie. "For the friends and the sun and the shade," said Daniel. "Remember the breeze and the people and the colors in fall. Isn't that enough?" That afternoon, Daniel fell with a smile. Freddie was the only one left. The first snow fell the next morning. The wind came and took Freddie from his branch. It didn't hurt at all. As he fell, he saw the whole tree for the first time. Did you hear that? He'd been up here, but now as he fell, this is the first time he'd ever seen the whole tree. He remembered Daniel's words now. Life lasts forever. Freddie kept falling and landed on the soft snow. He closed his eyes and he went to sleep. But that's not the end of the story, because up in the tree and down on the ground, there were already plans for new leaves to come in the spring. And that's the story of Freddie, who fell from his tree, but brought life to so many people while he was up there, and brought new life even after he fell. Now we're going to invite you to go to your classrooms as we sing.
Good morning. I'm Liz Epperson. I'm the Religious Education Coordinator here at Beth. I'm here to invite you to a ritual. Feels a little funny because we have another celebration, but while you're down celebrating, if you'd like to take a little quiet time, I have something for you in the library. This is from Llewellyn.com. Putting bright lights on Christmas trees and around the house began with the tradition of lighting candles and fires to honor the return of the sun, the solstice. A piece of the Yule log is kept from one year to the next, providing continuity as the old year finishes and the new one begins. A common component of the Yule ritual when you hold it outdoors is to jump over a bonfire and make a wish for the coming year. That sounds awesome. Next year. This morning, we combine this basic idea with the spiral, which is associated with the goddess, winter, and the winter solstice. It's also symbolic of winter hibernation. During the cold months, we turn inward for a time of reflection. But the same spiral of energy that leads us downward, inside ourselves in winter, eventually leads us up toward the light in spring. So I've set up a solstice spiral. It's rather simple, but I think it's kind of beautiful. There it is. Down in the library. So please come down after the service. I'll be down there. Make a wish, set an intention, and walk the spiral. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. A couple other announcements. Those of you who are new, if you would, please fill out a visitor information card in the pew racks in front of you and drop it in the collection plate when the ushers come around. And also wanted you to know that we have a evening Taizé service. I suppose it's a little bit like the spiral, in that it's a quiet time, there's candlelight, it's meditative, and it's held on the first Monday of every night at 7 p.m. And it's for those of you on Zoom. Every month. Not every night. Thank you. Thank you. The first Monday of every month. And for those of you on Zoom, it's held at the same Zoom address, and of course it's also in person. So, hope to see you.
Are there rituals that are an important part of your life? If so, why do you enact them? What makes them significant? What is their purpose? These are the kinds of questions that we're asking and exploring in today's service. For me, rituals are ways to enact meaning. When the meaning has been drained out of a ritual, it becomes empty. An example of this for some people might be wearing robes at a commencement exercise or putting up a tree at Christmas time. We do these things, but we might not have a strong sense of why we're doing them. I think that the key to making a ritual meaningful is to perform it with a conscious intention in mind. I almost feel like the ritual is a physical embodiment of our intention. And if you don't know what the intention behind the ritual is, then performing the ritual is going to feel empty. So maybe what I'm encouraging us to do is to live with intention and to use ritual as one way to mark and acknowledge what our intentions are. Okay, you might be thinking, but what exactly is a ritual? For our purposes today, I want to think of a ritual as a marker of a transition or important moment. The moment might be a small one, like waking up each morning. Here's something that Pam Graham wrote. Upon awakening each morning and leaving the comfort of my bed, before doing anything else, I make it. I do this in an attitude of reverence and gratitude, acknowledging the gift of sleep, recognition of my relationship with the comforts a bed provides me, gratitude for the many intimacies shared in a bed, the revelations of dreams dreamed in bed, and the joyful anticipation of returning to bed tonight. Note the personal note nature of Pam's morning ritual is something she does for herself. No one else needs to know. Another example of a personal ritual can be found in a TV show that a friend of mine told me about. It's called The Queen's Gambit. You might be familiar with it. At one point in the story, after the main character's adopted mother dies, the main character changes the wallpaper in their house. For me, this feels like a kind of ritual. The daughter was acting out, via the changing of the wallpaper, an important passage in her life. It's as if she was using her action to say something like, I'm taking my own life into my hands now. If she was consciously acting out that intention by changing the wallpaper, then her action really would be a ritual in the sense that I'm talking about today. Other rituals are more public in nature. Think of weddings. Think of weddings. Or funerals. The purpose of marking an important life passage is obvious here. But what gives meaning to these rituals is, again, being clear about our intention in performing them. As an example, I will describe a section of the memorial service I planned for Trula, my wife. She liked to go on walks and take photographs of things that caught her eye. The world was always catching her eye. After she died, I found a trove of digital photographs on her computer. She died right in the middle of the pandemic in November 2020, so I had to do the service on Zoom. In the service, I showed a set of her photographs and held each one for 20 seconds without any comment. She loved to observe, but she didn't really like to be observed. For example, she hated to have her picture taken. The purpose of the service was to hold Trula, to hold her in mind and to honor her memory. And so it seemed appropriate to hold her memory not by looking at her, but by looking at the world through her eyes. And when you've been looking at a lot of the pictures on the screen today, you've been looking at the world through Trula's eyes. I've been talking about rituals related to transitions in people's lives, but of course there are rituals related to the turning of the year. Here, the change we are marking is not in our life, but in the world around us, and the underlying purpose of such rituals is to connect us to the world. Here's something that Patricia Conover wrote. Wonder at the cycle of life and the turning of the great wheel through walking, hiking in the trees with my dog. In spring, encountering the first trilliums and maidenhair ferns, the gradual budding of trees in exuberant green, birds in search of mates and places to live. In summer, the full-fledged joy of warm sun, flowers nodding, bees bumbling, birds thriving, all the senses engaged. In fall, feast for the eye and awe of the colors of leaves on trees and the ground, brilliant orange, red, and yellow, the emerging of strange mushrooms after the rains. In winter, listening for the quiet of the forest, especially the hush of all things after the snow, the necessary pause of darkness, the full flood of creeks and rivers. When I think of rituals, I keep wanting to use the word holding. Rituals give us a way that we can hold our lives and the world that we are alive in. But it's a strange kind of holding, isn't it? Because what we are acknowledging is a transition of some kind. So a ritual can be a way to hold something that won't stay still, namely life. And now, please join Paul and me in singing Lady of the Season's Laughter. It's number 51 in the Gray Hymnal.
Audie and I, this one? Did I drop it? Audie and I have a little ritual. We reenact every morning, every evening. We've been doing this for years. Audie is our yellow lab. His capacity for emotional support is vast, but he rarely expresses any emotion of his own. He is the calmest, mellowest, slowest moving dog I have ever had, except at mealtimes. Every morning and every evening, I look around for the Weeble. The Weeble is our special name for a heavy red plastic feeder designed to prevent dogs from gobbling their meals too fast. Audie always knows what time it is. He usually comes to tell me, in fact, when it's time. Once I've found the Weeble, I take it somewhere in the house and hide it. He follows me briefly, but doesn't want to get too far away from the kitchen where his food is kept. That's my guess of why he does this anyway, because he always stays back just far enough that he doesn't fully see where I've gone or where I've put it. I go into the pantry then and grab the food container, and he leads me to the starting line at the edge of the kitchen. And then I scream, "Audie, where's your Weeble?" And he leaps, sprints, dances into the living room, spinning and spinning. I don't know where this dog came from. Then he stops, and in his excitement, he's apparently forgotten which room he saw me go into with the Weeble. Then he races thither and yon, knowing that I hide it pretty well behind, on, or under furniture. We have done this twice a day for 4 years, and it never ceases to make me smile and laugh. I look forward to it, I think, almost as much as he does. After I fill the Weeble with food, we go to our special place, where he lays down and stares at the Weeble until he remembers. He has to look me in the eye before I say, "Audie, free!" And the dance resumes. He smacks it and whacks it, and it erratically bobs and rolls around. So there's a pattern here and some randomness. As it's rolling around, a little bit of food falls here and a little bit of there. So the consistency of the pattern and the randomness of Weebles. Each time we begin again, as day turns to night and night turns to day, I have no idea where I'm going to find the Weeble. So there is that unpredictability, but also some predictability, because as you know, Weebles wobble, but they don't fall down. This ritual makes me laugh with my whole body. It recreates a deep feeling of home, having fun together, and taking care of one another. The Unitarian Universalist Association practices a form of governance called congregationalism, as do, no surprise, the Congregationalists, as do the Baptists. We're an association, not a hierarchy. Each congregation makes all its own decisions and policies and finances, chooses its own minister, again and again, chooses its own methods of education and engagement within and beyond its walls. Each congregation chooses its own practices, such as rituals or the lack thereof. One thing we share in common with other Unitarian Universalists, though, and this sets us apart from other congregationally governed traditions, is that we are creedless. All of the Article 2 stuff we've been talking about for the last couple of years, our imperfect attempt to define ourselves as a loosely organized organization, this round, through our democratic process, we have a simple image to share, the one on the cover of your order of service. So rather than a lot of words, it's a circle of shared values surrounding a central value of love. What does this all mean? All of us are left free to explore for ourselves and free to explore together. Because consistently, through cycles of centuries, through inconsistent evolving processes, our every expression of self-identity has included some variation of this less flowery language. Congregational freedom and the individual's right of conscience are central to our Unitarian Universalist heritage. Each congregation may establish statements of purpose, covenants, and bonds of union so long as they do not require individual members to adhere to a particular creed. So each UU congregation follows its own priorities. We have our own ways of welcoming children into our lives here, welcoming new members into our midst, and honoring our dead. We have our own practices of communicating, looking into one another's eyes as expressions of acceptance and respect. Names for places and objects and roles, inside jokes, and unconscious rituals that we might not recognize, but we cherish even if we don't know why we do them. These things, the inside jokes and these sometimes unconscious rituals, all at the same time, is trying not to exclude people who are brand new. It's an interesting dance. We have a fluid order of service, except we close each Sunday with Circle Around Freedom and checking in with one another. We take collections for local organizations that put our values into practice. Over time, rituals that were invented in some congregations have spread to others. The lighting of the chalice, the water communion and flower communion, comprehensive sexuality education for all ages, variations on sharing joys and concerns, which here we call milestones. The pledge drive is an important ritual, and the annual congregational meeting. Our evolution itself, I would argue, is a kind of ritual that takes place continually. What makes it a ritual, I think, is when we practice it with intention and when we explore with intention and when we take it seriously, but not too much. Gail, will you come on up and join me for our new member welcoming ceremony?
Building community is essential at Buff. Building community is a life-affirming, sometimes challenging, always complex art. One that takes practice, reflection, and reaffirmation from time to time.
As we grow in our relationships, we appreciate new faces, new ideas, new perspectives. So we appreciate every opportunity to welcome new members and to renew our sense of purpose as beloved community. So now, new members, will you please come forward? Stand right here. I'm going to grab a microphone for you. Come on up. Yeah, kind of line up here. Pam? Come on up, Pam. So I invite you now to introduce yourself briefly by telling us what brings you to Buff and what you bring to Buff.
Awesome. I'm Mary Ann Welch. I wrote it down on my phone because many of you know I'm undergoing cancer treatment, so I can't remember anything, but if I can remember my name on a good day, then I'm doing good. So what brings me to Buff? For years, whenever I met somebody in this community, I always found out, once I liked them and I thought they were rad, that they belonged to Buff. So for many years, the universe gave me that sign. I love social justice. I enjoy the pagan ways. I find magic in everything, and I have always found more questions than answers in every religion I've ever gone to. I love people and community. I want to raise my children within a community of good people that come together for the greater good of others. And today, I'm wearing this weird shirt because, and I didn't even think about it, that this is ritual today.
What's so weird about it?
Well, this is my dad's shirt, and he passed away 3 years ago. And this is just anecdotal, he was a Christian Scientist, but he often wished, as I grew older, that I would belong to a church again. And I was pretty resistant. I did not want to belong to a church. It was a very charged word for me. And so it surprised me once I started coming on the regular how much this just fit who I am and who I'm becoming and who I want my children, what I want them to learn and become. And so today I'm wearing this shirt to honor my dad, knowing it fulfills something both in him and in me. And you'll know me, I always carry Kleenex around here. That's why I love you all, because I can just laugh and then I can cry in the next breath. So what do I bring to Buff? I bring a kind heart. I bring a love of children, both my own and other people's. A wild curiosity, a desire to help, hope, an open heart. I have a degree in art, teaching, and I worked in social work in our population experiencing homelessness for over 20 years in this community. Most recently, I was a child care provider, and I enjoy kids of all ages. However, in menopause, I have trouble with small children. I will admit that. I've been through hard times, and I know what pain and suffering is. I've been through cancer. I lost a partner to cancer. I've lost a parent. I've had baby loss. And I'm an adventurous, fun spirit, and I love to dig deep, and I love to give warm hugs. So I'm excited to be a part of your congregation.
And Marianne also used to work with Audie, with my wife Jane. Audie was there when, yeah.
I got to hang with Audie in her first year.
Yeah.
But I never saw the Weeble, so.
So Marianne, I invite you to sign. There was a pen. We'll have to do it with your finger and then.
There you go.
And here's your new button. Hey, stay up, Marianne, stay up there somewhere. This is fine.
Be over here.
Sure, that's great. Yep. Aha. Go ahead, Lorraine.
Good morning. In case I missed you at the door this morning, it was nice to see so many smiling faces. I'm Lorraine Manis. I'm a Unitarian Universalist from New Mexico. I moved here a few months ago, and the reason I'm here is because I need a new UU community, and this is a wonderful community, so I'm so happy to be here. What I bring to the community is a desire to serve my community. It gives me a sense of purpose and a feeling of belonging. So you see, that's why I've already joined the hospitality team. So I'm finding other things to jump into. So if anybody has any need of a volunteer, please come by and let me know.
All right. We'll take it. We'll take it.
I may have spoke too soon. So, I'm looking forward to getting to know all of you, and I thank you for welcoming me.
And she's serious. She really jumped into things over the last few weeks that she just got here. She has a deep understanding of congregational life from her experience in New Mexico, and is going to teach us a few things, too.
Good afternoon. I had written my speech, so please just give me a moment. I kind of wrote it on a whim. Today I was asked what brought me here, and until this day, on that initial day, I do not know what makes me drive from New Westminster, British Columbia to Buff. However, I am glad I made that choice approximately 5 months ago. I heard about UU 15 years ago from a ballmate of mine. I had grown up in a traditional Sikh family. I felt a sense of community when I came here, and I found a sense of community, willingness to be open-minded, and an opportunity for growth. One aspect of UU that really stood out for me, that I resonated, was with the belief that UU is a motive for a force of love, governing principle in human relationships is the principle of love, which always seeks the welfare of others and never seeks to hurt or destroy. I was in a place in my life where I required healing. I separated from my partner, I needed growth, I needed to see the world outside of my own lens. To be open-minded and to see things from another person's perspective, Buff has given me the freedom and the safety for my own personal growth. I have met some amazing folks in this wonderful congregation, and today I can tell you that I am not the same person that I was when I walked through those doors at Buff 5 months ago. I have grown, and I have recently reconciled with my partner. What do I bring to Buff? That's a good question. Contemplated on that for a few days. I bring unlimited Timbits. The conscious intention to keep a sense of community, to uphold the belief that Buff stands for justice, interdependence, equity, generosity, pluralism, and transformation. Thank you.
Thanks, Pam. And here's your button. And go ahead and sign. Pam?
Thank you. Hi, I'm Pam Wooster. Thank you for including me. I wasn't expecting to be part of this, so I don't have a speech
When I
written.
invited Pam, I was thinking Pam Hare, but Pam has been around.
Oh my God, I'm so
But
sorry.
Pam?
Well, you said Pam, come on up.
Yeah.
Well, I am new.
Yeah.
I've been here a month, and I joined the choir, so I am committed. So thank you for.
Absolutely.
Thank you for. So, talking off the top of my head, what brought me here is, Gail. There's a wonderful Gail. I became her pet sitter last spring and then this fall, and we started talking, and I had instant connection with her, and I had a sense that she was spiritual, and I've been looking for a spiritual community. My husband and I moved up here during the pandemic in 2020 from the Woodinville area down, Seattle area basically, and we, first couple of years, because of the pandemic, didn't really have a lot of community, and now we're slowly, I'm a homebody, so I'm getting myself out into the community. I want to be more social, and what I bring to your wonderful, I just love this place. To get me out of bed on a Sunday morning, you guys are amazing, and that's why I keep coming back here. So I joined the choir, so I have a love of music, and I'm really looking forward to experiencing that. And what I bring, just open heart, love, hugs, humor, but also just deep appreciation of how wonderful and loving, and it's just so refreshing to be around kind-hearted, loving people. And so thank you for including me in your community. And I look forward to continue coming, and my husband as well. But he's at the Seahawks today, and he's not looking, he goes, oh, I don't feel good about this. So, but, yeah, so you'll see him probably at a new person commit, because he loves to talk. He will be up here yumming away. His name is Scott Wooster. Some of you may have met him already. He's wonderful. I love him. Thank you so much, guys.
So, Pam,
Yes?
I suspect that we might find some of the things within you that you don't recognize that you bring. That
True. Oh, yeah, I'm a helping soul, and so I know that I will probably branch out and start doing some volunteering stuff, and whatever you can dig out of me.
Well, and obviously spontaneity comes with, yeah.
I guess so.
All right.
Okay.
So, if you would like to sign and then print, let's see, I guess it's that fourth line. That's not yours, but we'll give it, I'm going to pretend I've given it to you. Okay. I'm going to symbolically give Pam the button for Cindy Denchfield, who was planning to be today, but couldn't be here. So Cindy will come back, and Pam will hold this to her heart for a few minutes until we make one for her. So yeah, stand over there. So.
Now, members of the Buff community, we ask you to embrace these new members who have pledged to support the work of this community, both financially and in their own unique ways. We ask you to accompany them as they and you continue to discover new ways to help Buff to grow in its mission.
So will you welcome them in this way? We will, joyfully. Isn't that up there? While listening closely to who you are, we will offer you here a place of rest and solace and endless opportunities to learn and serve. We will accept responsibility for our own actions, strive to practice forgiveness, and expect you to do the same. May this community be blessed in our ministry together, and may we honor the covenants we share, always growing, learning, and deepening our connections. So, thank you. And I would like to invite the ushers to receive our morning's collection.
In the passage by Patricia Conover that I read earlier, she used the phrase, the necessary pause of darkness. Well, here we are in winter, in the middle of that necessary pause. So let's sing a song that marks this time of year. It's called Dark of Winter, and it's number 55 in the Gray Hymnal.
I guess my most consistent personal ritual, which is also one I share, is, I guess this is my spiritual practice, is to prepare for and write what I'm going to share with you every Saturday night and Monday morning. And every time there's this magic, holy serendipity, these coincidences. Everybody who shared today, we invited people to share. We gave them an idea of what we're talking about. And so many talked about similar things, seeing. A few different people talked about seeing, and now I'm blanking. But as I was sitting there, each time it was just like a shock. Wow, again and again, there's all this intention. Yeah. So, I am so grateful to you all for giving me that opportunity, and I invite you to sing with me, Circle Around for Freedom. Amen.